the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring that Jet Age aerial ace, Rocket J. Squirrel. And his pal, Bullwinkle the Moose.
Hi, glad to see you again.
Likewise.
We got some great things on the show today.
Like what? Like what?
Well, you ought to know, Bullwinkle. You're in some of them.
Well, let's get started.
Well, the treasure of Montezuma may be worth $1 million, but it doesn't look as if anybody's going to collect it. For the enormous treasure chest has so far resisted the efforts of Boris and Natasha to pry it open, chop it open, even blow it open.
Let's face it, Boris, we need a safe cracker.
We got a safe cracker.
Whom?
Meme, that's whom.
Boris, you know how to crack a safe.
Sure, Mike. You just lift the safe up in the air like this, and when you cut the cable...
Yes?
Crack!
Oh, that's straight thinking, darling.
And for me, straight thinking is tough.
Why?
I got a crooked mind.
Well, as luck would have it, our heroes chose that moment to pedal their bicycle bill for two right under the hanging chest.
Gee, I don't see any sign of those two spies, Bullwinkle.
What spies are those, Rock?
The spies who drained this lake.
This is a lake?
Oh, boy, have you forgotten the plot again?
In a word, you said it.
That's 3 words.
I'm a heavy tipper. Now, what's the plot?
Here, I'll draw you a picture.
And all unaware of the frightful fate hanging over their heads, Rocky began to draw pictures to bring Bullwinkle up to date on our story.
We were bird watching, remember?
Yeah.
We saw 2 spies ready to blow up the dam.
Yeah.
We put out the fuse.
Good for us.
One of them disguised himself as an actor named Spencer Traceback.
My favorite.
Then he slickered you into pulling a big plug out of the bottom of the lake,
Shame, shame.
revealing a big treasure chest.
This is the exciting part.
And we went down the drain together.
Wowie!
And now we're back here looking for the 2 spies.
Well, that is a dandy... Hey, what did you draw above us there?
That's the treasure chest that's hanging over our yike.
Hanging over our yike? That's an odd place to...
Bullwinkle, out of the way.
I can't, Rock. Something happened. I can't move.
Go on, Boris, cut the rope.
I'm trying.
What's the matter?
The snippers must be dull.
Here, darling, try this.
What is it?
Is my switchblade nail file.
And Boris leaped on top of the chest and began sawing at the rope.
Run, Bullwinkle.
I can't. I must be froze with fear.
No, you're not. You're standing on your own foot.
Doesn't everybody?
I mean, your right foot is standing on your left foot.
Oh, okay. Break it up down there.
And our heroes dashed out of the way just as the rope let go.
Good work, Boris.
But unfortunately for Boris, he'd forgotten he was still on top of the chest. And what's more, as it fell, the chest turned over so Boris was underneath it.
Don't worry, darling. Remember, this is just cartoon. Boris, are you all right?
Natasha, I just found out what happens when a cartoon chest folds on a cartoon character.
What?
It hurts.
And what's more, darling?
What could be what's more?
The chest still isn't open.
Fooey and double fooey.
That voice, Bullwinkle. Where have I heard that voice?
I heard something like it once when I dropped the chicken bone in the garbage disposal.
That does it, Natasha. Come on. We're going to get an A-bomb.
A-bomb?
A-bomb, come on.
Did you hear that, Bullwinkle?
Sure, they repeated it twice.
Do you know what A-bomb means?
Certainly. A-bomb is what some people call our program.
I don't think that's so funny.
Neither do they, apparently.
And while our heroes engage in airy persiflage, the 2 villains are on their way. Don't miss our next explosive episode, 1, 2, 3, Gone, or I've Got Plenty of Nothing.
Yo-ho, Junior. Where are you, boy?
Here I am, Pop. What's up?
Why, my goodness, you're soaking wet. What happened?
Nothing. I was just watering my garden.
It looks like you got more watering than your garden did.
Well, with our hose, it couldn't be helped. I'll show you.
Now, Junior, turn that hose off. Junior, turn it off now. Turn it off.
Oh, sorry, Pop.
Now, you see, we're both soaked to the skin. Why don't you fix that hose?
Well, I tried, but I can't figure out a way to do it.
You could if you had to.
Had to?
Always remember, my boy, that necessity is the mother of invention.
And now comes the fable?
Correct. It's called The Hare and the Tortoise.
Oh, you must be slipping, Pop. You already told me the fable about the hare and the tortoise.
I told you part one. There are two parts of that story. As you remember, the tortoise had been goaded into a race with the hare. And it wasn't long before the hare had left the tortoise so far behind that he decided he could well afford to kill a little time.
I think I'll take in a movie.
The picture was so good, From Here to Eternity, starring Rabbit Montgomery, that he sat through it twice, which proved to be a fatal mistake.
The tortoise wins!
Though you are a tortoise, if you are steady and watch out for rolling stones, you will come forth first.
Well, we all know what happened to the tortoise after that eventful day. He became rich and famous.
Isn't that nice? They named turtle soup after me.
But what about the hare? That's quite another story. Losing that race caused him to lose everything, and he was kicked out of the Rabbits Union.
But fellas, my dues are all paid up for 3 months in advance.
It makes no difference. You set us rabbits back 200 years.
Yeah, what hurts most of all is that folks don't say quick like a bunny anymore.
Out!
Now a broken hare, there was nothing left for him. He went away to a small town where he changed his name and settled down. Time passed, and both the tortoise and the hare grew old. Then one day, as the old gray hare sat in his rocker...
Bang, boom, boom, bang, boom, boom. Wah! Concern it, what's all the racket out there?
Hey, Grandpa, Charlie Frickett beat me up.
What for?
For the third time this week. He said that the tortoise beat you in a race, and I said he didn't.
This hit the old hare pretty hard when his own grandbunny, well, that was too much.
Well, now that I know that if you're a tortoise and you keep running around over mossy rock steady like 4 times or whatever the heck that was, he said.
That he hurried into the big city and went directly to the tortoise's house.
Howdy, hare.
Howdy. You got the glove I can borrow?
Here you are.
Thank you. I hereby challenge you to another race, or are you chicken?
No. I'm all tortoise, and you're out.
The date was set, and the hare immediately tried a trial run to check his speed.
How did it do? My speed's pretty frightening, isn't it?
I'll say. It took you 3 hours to run the 4-minute mile.
Suddenly realizing that old age had taken its toll, and he was probably now slower than the tortoise, the hare had to turn to the speed of his wits. Locking himself in his workshop, he worked day and night, inventing ways to increase his speed. By the day of the big race, he was ready, and arrived at the starting line with a wagon load of inventions.
What kind of a harebrained scheme are you up to now?
Never you mind, Sonny. Just stand aside when you see me coming. Go!
The tortoise crept into an early lead, mainly due to the fact that the hare crept into the wagon and took a nap.
Grandpa, what are you doing?
Right now, I'm taking 40 winks.
But the tortoise is getting way ahead of you.
That's all right. Just let me know when it gets to Miller's barn.
Miller's barn burned down 2 years ago.
In that case, I better get going.
Slipping into one of his inventions, a rocket jacket, he lit the fuse.
Stand back, boy. I'm gonna pass that tortoise like he's standing still.
But, as it turned out, the jacket passed the tortoise and left the hare standing still on the starting line.
Dagnabbit, zipper broke.
By now, the tortoise was turning into the home stretch.
Like I always say, he who puts his best foot forward counts his hatches before they chicken out. So I'm bound to win.
It looked as though history was about to repeat itself.
I've come to the end. This is the only way out.
Grandpa, that's the coward's way out. Don't drink that.
This isn't what you think it is, boy. This is a glass of some old-fashioned gasoline I've been saving for years. Bottoms up.
A little gas on his stomach was all he needed, for it no sooner hit bottom. And not only did he cross the finish line well ahead of the tortoise, but he kept right on running, never to be seen again. And so you see, Junior, it was necessary for the hare to win that race for the sake of his little grandbunny. And that proves that necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, Pop. But the hare drinking gasoline proves something else.
Oh, what's that?
That there's no fuel like an old fuel.
I guess you're right.
Look, Bullwinkle, a message in a bottle.
Fan mail from some flounder?
No, this is what I really call a message.
Hi there, poultry lovers. We got a real treat in store for you today. A special guest, Mr. Peter Piker.
That's Piper.
Yeah. Mr. Piker is the star of the well-known famous poem, Peter Piker picked a peck of pickled peppers.
That's pickled.
That's what I said, pickled. A peck of pickled pickers Peter Piker picked.
The name is Peter. Peter Piper.
And you can call me Bullwinkle. If Peter Piker pecked a pickled pickers,
Brother,
where's the pickled Peter Piker picked? How's that?
you got a bad case of pookles there, fella.
And that's our first question. Where are they?
Where what?
The peppers, the pickled peppers.
Oh, I'm out of the pickle business now.
You are?
I couldn't say it either.
Hey, that's great. What are you doing now?
I help my sister Susie.
And what does she do?
She sells seashells at the seashore.
That's better.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But that trick never worked.
This time for sure. Presto! Well, I'm getting close.
And now it's time for another special feature. There, Sherman here. I'm doing a solo today, and the reason is because poor Mr. Peabody has laid up. How do you feel, Mr. Peabody?
Not too well, Sherman. I have a slight case of distemper.
Well, don't you worry, Mr. Peabody. I'll take the folks back into history today.
You're a dog's best friend, Sherman. Where do you plan to go?
I thought we'd go to Coney Island.
Sherman.
Sorry, Mr. Peabody. Today we shall meet that great physicist and astronomer Galileo. So I shall set Mr. Peabody's Wayback Machine for Pisa, Italy in the year 1592. Even without Mr. Peabody along, the Wayback responded in his customary flawless fashion, which is what Mr. Peabody would have said if he were here. In what seemed like no time at all, I was standing at the base of the leaning tower of Pisa. And there, pounding on the door, was the great man himself, Galileo.
Come on, open up the door.
Golly, Mr. Galileo, what seems to be the trouble?
Go away, kid.
But I'm here to help you.
Then get somebody to open the door.
Why do you want to get in there?
You see these two metal balls? One's a big and one is a small. I'm gonna go up in the tower and drop these two balls.
What'll that prove?
That they both will hit the ground at the same time.
This was a problem that only Mr. Peabody could solve. Hang on, Mr. Galileo. I'll be right back.
The solution is obvious, Sherman. The only way into the tower is through the locked door, and the only way to open a locked door is with a key.
Returning to Pisa, I took Mr. Galileo to the nearest locksmith.
Sure, I make you a key to open a tower, but it's a cost you 10 lira.
Gee, I've only got 3 Indian head pennies and a skate key.
That's no good.
What do you have, Mr. Galileo?
I got 3 Indian head skate keys and a penny.
That's not gonna get it either, Jack.
Again, it was a problem that only Mr. Peabody could solve.
My, you are certainly having your troubles.
It would have been so much easier if we'd gone to Coney Island.
You really have no problem, Sherman. Find a job for Galileo and earn the money for the key.
But the only things Galileo could do were dropping metal balls from leaning towers and astronomy. So he chose astronomy. Step right up, folks, and let the great Galileo tell your fortune by the stars.
I'm also read the palms and guess you wait. All for 10 lira.
Fortune-telling business was so slow that the only customer we got was a tall, dark man in uniform.
I may see by the crystal ball that you are a tall, dark man in a uniform.
See, what else you can tell me, huh?
You in a law business.
Go on.
I'm also gonna tell you what you gonna do in the next 30 seconds.
What's that?
You gonna arrest the kid and me for telling fortunes without a license?
That's right.
We were thrown on the first gondola leaving for Switzerland, which meant we were exiled from Italy forever.
Well, kid, looks like I'm not gonna get into the tower to prove my theory.
Wait right here, Mr. Galileo. I'll be back.
You're like a bad penny, Sherman. You keep turning up with problems.
And this one's a Lulu.
Nonsense. You can get back into Italy by becoming national heroes.
How do we do that?
By taking advantage of your appetites.
And Mr. Peabody instructed me to take Mr. Galileo to the spaghetti eating contest in Paris, France.
The team who eats the most spaghetti will win.
Shot a meatball into the air, and we were off and eating. 5 hours later...
The winners are the astronomers.
Spaghetti being the national dish of Italy, we not only won 10 lire first prize, but were also made honorary citizens of Italy, just as Mr. Peabody had figured. 1 week later, we stood before the Tower of Pisa with the key that would open the door.
Well, here goes, kid. It's dark in here. I'll light a match.
It was then I smelled escaping gas, but before I could stop him, Galileo had struck. When the smoke cleared, the tower was still standing, although it was leaning, as it still is today. Galileo was free to prove his theory, so my job was done.
Oh, no, it isn't. Where did the escaping gas come from, and who had locked the door?
The gas came from an oven, and the door was locked by a mad Italian scientist.
What was a mad Italian scientist doing with an oven in the Tower of Pisa?
He was inventing a new pie.
Oh, no, Sherman. Not pizza pie.
No, chicken cacciatore.
Well, Boris tried to drop the treasure of Montezuma on our heroes, but wound up hoist with his own petard. Meanwhile...
Hold that! What means this hoist with my own, what's this?
It means you fell into your own trap.
Oh, well, why didn't you said so? Okay, let's go.
Finally, in desperation, he and Natasha set out to find an A-bomb to blow up the chest.
Gee, that must be a pretty valuable treasure, Bullwinkle.
Big, anyway.
Maybe we could get that chest open.
Well...
Of course, those spies tried hammering it and chopping it, blowing it up, dropping it off a cliff.
Well...
So how can we open it?
Well...
What do you think, Bullwinkle?
Well...
What's your considered opinion?
If you'd stop talking, I'll tell you.
Well, I was just trying to build up a little suspense.
Why don't we just try turning the key?
The key?
Yes, right there in plain sight was a key. And when Bullwinkle turned it, the entire box flopped open, revealing at last the treasure of Montezuma.
Whoa! A 1903 Apperson jackrabbit.
That's a treasure.
Isn't it, though?
I must say I'm disappointed.
Well, then go ahead.
What?
Say it.
Okay, I'm disappointed.
And I'm Bullwinkle.
Yeah, I know. Well, I guess the only thing we can do is drive it into town and turn it over.
What?
To the authorities.
Oh.
How do we start it?
Well, it says right here on the instruction sheet, let's see, stand in front of machine, seize, crank, spin crank sharply. First, making sure car is out of gear. Hey, Rock, wait up!
And so when Boris and Natasha returned to the scene...
We couldn't find an A-bomb, not even a war surplus one.
Boris, look, somebody beat us to the treasure.
Raskolnikov!
But at that moment, Boris's sharp eyes spotted the instruction sheet that Bullwinkle had dropped. I say, at that moment, Boris's sharp eyes had spotted the...
I heard you.
Well?
I can't see it anywhere.
It's right under your nose.
You're crazy. It's nowhere inside.
Boris, darling.
Invisible ink I can find.
Boris.
Invisible papers, no.
Darling.
What is it, Natasha?
You are sitting on it.
Oh. You said it was under my nose.
Sorry.
What does it say?
It says the treasure was really just an old car. Oh, boy. Lucky we got a regular job to fall back on.
What's that?
Breaking windows at the UN building. Let's go.
Oh, if those two villains had only seen the license plate of that car, they would...
What? What's that whispering? What was that?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
We got ways of finding out, you know.
Ways of... How?
Easy. We run program backwards and forwards again. Like this.
Oh, if those two villains had only seen the license plate of that car...
That's what you said. Natasha, what's with the license plate?
It's only a number, Boris.
What number?
14K.
14K. What? 14 carat? Natasha, 14 carat. That car is solid gold. Come on.
Oh, what have I done?
You have just signed death warrant for Moose, darling.
Oh, dear.
And stretch the whole plot out for 2 more episodes.
And we'll see one of them next time called All That Glitters, or Baby, It's Gold Outside.
Well, I guess that about wraps up another Rocky show.
Certainly hope you enjoyed it. I did. I always say.
Bullwinkle, time for us to go.
Already? Okay, but first, here are some of the people who made this show impossible. The fingers get tired. Oop! Got away from me again.
Well, see you next time. Ready, Bullwinkle? Hurry!
Oop!